I hope you can hear me. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me see your thumbs up in the comment section. Let's make sure you can hear me and we start already. Just make sure you can hear me, you can see me. Where are you joining me from? Can you hear me? Can you see me, please? I will appreciate your comments to know that you can hear me, you can see me. So I bring up my slide. Can you hear me? Can you see me, please? Can you hear me? Can you see me? 1 second, please. Hi, everyone. My name is Funke Olaonipekun. I'm the convener of Leadership Lens. Glad to welcome you to Leadership Lens Academy. Leadership Lens Academy exists to teach us leadership skills, to make sure we're doing it the right way such that we get the right results that is needed for our leadership journey. Behind every circumstances, situations, and trouble you can see around you is an element of ineffective leadership system. So what can you do? Do we just wait for the change? Do we just wait and hope things will change? Yes, we are hopeful, but we need to step out. So today I was talking about how to become a leader. Today we're going to talk about my role, your role, how to start. And I start today with a quote from John Maxwell. He says, and I quote, "The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change. The leader adjusts the sails." I take that again. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects the wind to change. Isn't that being hopeful? While the leader adjusts the sail. I've seen this quote several times, and for some reason it just become obvious to me what this quote actually mean, the implication for us. And I want you to sit down and listen to me. Have a pen and a paper and let us reason together. I'll give an example of a country that has this. I am Nigerian, and I just want to give us a picture of what this quote truly means. Virtually everyone complains that there is a leadership problem in Nigeria. It's no longer new, the Japa syndrome, everyone moving away. People think, oh, there is a problem. Nigeria is a very good country, it's a great country. Only if our leaders know what to do, only if they are harnessing our resources, only if human effort and intelligence and everything is put together. What a great nation, what should be happening? Some people are just pessimistic and say, look, it's not going to change. It's not going to get better. The earlier I leave or just have a plan B or something, the better. Those are the pessimists. They see the wind. The wind here represents the problem, the leadership problem going on around. Is in streets, is in homes, is in every institution, just name it. And so you can't blame them for saying it. All right? And number two category of people in that quote, it says, the optimist hope for the change. Majority of us, I would say, in all fairness, believe that Nigeria is going to change. That nation is going to be great again. I believe that as well. But there is something we don't do. We don't take actions to show that we hope that it will change. So we wait. That's why you see our religious leader encouraging us, let's go on a prayer and fasting, 10 days prayer and fasting for our nation, Nigeria, 5 days prayer and five prayer and for our country, Nigeria. Pray for Nigeria, hope for a better Nigeria, be patriotic in the language that we all like to use. That's one step, and that's a good one. But we've got to move beyond that. All right. I am not saying prayer is not good. Prayer is effective. It tells you what to do. So now we need to move. And the last part of the quote says, the leader adjusts the sail. I'll take it again. There's a group of people, pessimists, who believe nothing good can come out of this situation. I just use Nigeria as an example, but these circumstances happens, it occurs in every human endeavors. So, some people, nothing can change. No matter how hard you try, these circumstances is not going to change. Nothing is going to change. So what do? They complain about the problem, but they don't do anything and they don't have hope. There's another group of people called optimists. They're hoping for a better future. They are hoping things will change, but they are just waiting. You don't just wait for a change. You make the change. Because nothing happens except you make it happen. Newton's law of motion says, for example, this my pen will remain in the state of rest until a force is applied, until something moved, until something changed. Nothing is going to change. That's why you see a stone or a bigger rock that you have seen on your street. It has remained there for ages because nobody have changed it, because nothing has pushed it. No matter how long it's been there, if there is no force, if there is nothing being done to move it, to at least adjust it, nothing is going to change. So, who are you? Are you an optimist? Do you think it's going to change? We just have to wait for the change. Are you a pessimist? You're like, I can't trust the process anymore. And when you see an optimist, before you judge them, before you rush into conclusion and say they are not being patriotic, don't blame them. They are tired of trusting the process. Most time is because they have trusted the process and the process did not bring the result. Sometimes it's because the environment, nothing has changed really, and they're like, is there anything going to change? So don't be in an hurry to judge a pessimist. I mean, don't be in an hurry to judge a pessimist. Their experience, the lack of trust, maybe they have trusted the leaders once and over, but nothing has changed. So it's difficult for them to see a change coming. So instead of blaming them, present them with something to believe again. Give them an element of doubt to trust the process again. And that's not going to change overnight. So this is where your qualities, my qualities of being a leader come in. Don't forget, we're talking about 3 kind of people that exist in every situation. An optimist, people who believe that nothing can change. We just have to leave it and move on. People who believe that, oh, there is hope of a tree. It will yet rise again. It will yet bud again. As long as the root is there, that's an optimist. They wait for the change. We are not going to wait for the change. And the third category of person is a leader. So I put it to you. Who are you? Are you an optimist? You're giving up on that situation. It's not going to change. Are you a pessimist? You've given up on that situation. It's not going to change. Let's just flick it and forget it. Or are you an optimist? It's going to change, but you're there waiting. Or are you a leader? The most important and significant person in the room. Somebody who does not only see the problem, but they are intuitive enough to diagnose the problem and also provide a solution. And what do they have to do? How will they do it? What are the qualities? Because no one is born a leader. I know that people have potentials. Some people have the ability to do things better than anyone. But leaders are not necessarily born. And I can prove that to you. Leadership is a skill. It just has to be learned. And that's where leadership lens come in. We help you to see clearly. We put you that lens, to help you to see the little things that needs to be done. They are simple but yet practical that needs to be done so that the change can happen, so that this mountain of problem, we can push it, we can apply the forces of motion and move it. We take it out of the place of rest by our attitude, by what we do. It starts with a mind shift. So come out of that pessimism tonight and have a mindset of it can actually change. And if you're already an optimist, come out of that waiting today and together let's be a leader. Because usually one person is not sufficient to make this change. So we need to have a focus. We need to come together and work together as a group, having a mindset of this is where we are and this is where we're going. It's a journey, it's a process. So it's not going to happen overnight. But the good thing is we are able to adjust the sail. So I tell you 8 ways to become a leader. Just in case you're not a leader and you're wondering, I really want to trust the process, but my trust has been abused. I have hoped for change. There was a time in my country, anybody you see will say change, change, change. Why do you think it was easy for everybody to relate and come together to say change when you mentioned that presidential candidate that year and you just say change? Because it just connects with everyone emotionally. This is what people have been waiting for a long time but does not know how to express. So somebody came online and used that word to grab people, unfortunately. Anyway, the expectation was high, but the delivery was not, it was as if what we heard versus what we got. So I am not blaming you if you've been there. I'm just saying give it a go again. You are a leader. Come up to that place of a leader. You are not going to give up. You are not going to give up on your circumstances. You are not going to give up on your studies. You are not going to give up on your nation, because leadership exists in every form of relationship. So even if it's your business, something is not going on right now, we are not going to give up. Or is your career, you are trying to attain the last level of your career and it just seems that, come on now, nothing is going to change. I want to tell you a few things you can do tonight to be a leader who is not just to be a person who is not just pessimistic, who is just not optimistic, doing nothing, but to be a leader who is taking the action. So, number one, 8 way to become a leader. Take initiative. Jump at opportunity to handle new challenges. Take initiative. There is a way leaders see things. When others are seeing problem, you are seeing that problem as an opportunity for change. So take initiative. Look at problem and kind of have a think of it. Don't just think now. Ask yourself, if we don't solve this problem, what is going to happen in the next 5 years? What will happen in the next 10 years? Okay, what can we do to avoid this from happening? That means you're already seeing something different. You are already out of that pessimistic. You are now maybe optimistic, but you need to do more. So take initiative. Number 2 is to listen with empathy. For anything you are doing, empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is understanding that people don't know what you know. Not everybody knows what you know. Not everybody wants what you want. Not everybody likes what you like. There are things you can see now that we can't see, even though we are looking at the same situation. There was a movie, it was told about a man. It's a story of a man who went on holiday. It was in the woods, large vegetated area, plants and everything, just green, quiet, serene area. And in that holiday, his brother-in-law came on visiting unexpectedly. This brother-in-law happens to be a businessman, and he is into forestry and mining and things like that. So while they were talking, both of them, the other man asked, "What can you see here?" Mind you, they are sitting in the same place. They are looking at the same thing in the same environment. And the man went, "Oh, look at this beautiful place. Look at the trees. Do you know we can have a book factory from here? Do you know that if we manage things here, there can be a waste management company? Do you know that we can do buildings from this place? Do you know that we can go into timber and construction? Do you know that we can also start afforestation? And he went on and on and on. And he mentioned about 20 things that can be done from the view of what they are both looking at. And he asked the other person, "What can you see?" He said, "I can see quietness and calmness in this place." Even though they are looking at the same thing, they still cannot see the same thing. What does that tell you? Where you are, what you see is all determined by who you are. I'll take it like again. Who you are is what determines what you see. If you are a pessimist, every time you will see a problem and you will complain about it. Meanwhile, if you are a leader, you will see every problem as an opportunity. So it's not just about what is happening, it's about what can you see. And what you can see is majorly dependent on who you are. So what are you going to do? Train your mind to see beyond problems. Train yourself like athletes do. When you're preparing for a marathon, you're not just going to wake up one morning and say 10 kilometers, here you go. Who you are is, yes, Joshua, who you are is what determines what you see. The other guy was able to see businesses here and there because he is a businessman. The other person was just seeing calmness because I'm on holiday. I came here to rest, and that's all I can see. So not everybody can see what you're saying. So what does that tell you? You have to listen with empathy. Not everybody can see what you can see. Not everybody knows what you know. This is why empathy comes in. Extend grace to people. There is only one way to do it. Listen. Allow people to express themselves. Let them give you the opinion of what they have. Allow people to give their perspective, because you are not going to be able to help until you know what they are going through. How will you know? You've got to listen. You've got to pay attention, because sometimes you think people's problem is money, and what you look around and you want to give them money, whereas they don't want money. They just need ideas. So try and listen to people instead of you generalizing and say these young people, all they need is money. They can't just wait for any instruction. Interact. Ask them, what have you been doing? What will you really like to do? And listen. When they talk, don't be quick to judge. That's how to be a leader. Number one, you take initiative. Number two, you listen with empathy. Because in the process of listening to empathy, you are able to pick what are their likes, what is the problem, and you're able to extend grace to help, as much as you can. So listen to understand others' perspective, their feelings. Don't just respond. Don't have a response. Don't have a response for every communication going through. I don't know if you have noticed. I don't know if it's peculiar to Africans or maybe just generally humans. You've had a challenging day. You have a troubled time, and you meet a friend or somebody you want to talk to, and you're like, oh, if you see what I've been through today. And the person, instead of them to listen to you and allow you to just express and say, if I tell you what I've also been through, come on. I'm trying to express myself to you. To kind of like, can you be empathetic with me? Do you have something to tell me that can encourage me? And you're trying of changing it to make you feel like I've not seen anything, more is coming. That's what most people do in conversation. If you say somebody who is grieving, if you've been to places where people grieve before, you say somebody died, and you see people bringing worst stories, things that are worse than what they meet. You're like, come on now, you are here to listen. You are here to be empathetic. So it's a skill. Learn to be quiet. If that's the only thing you take away from this video today, I'm absolutely glad with it. Learn to be empathetic. Just listen. Be in the moment and listen. Sometimes all people want is for you to just listen to them. By the way, if you're a manager and you are starting a new week tomorrow, I can assure you your team members want you to listen to them. They want you to come around and say, oh, hello, are you okay? How can I help? Even if you don't have the immediate help. Everybody wants people's attention. Everywhere you are. Now, I am looking for your attention now. That's why I invited you to this live, to come and listen to what I have to say. And yes, thank you for joining me. So listen. I say that over and over again. For every strategy that you want to use in your business, in your career, in your community, in your leadership journey, strategy function on 4 things. It function on time, it function on system, it function of empathy, and strategy is a game. Anyway, take that from me today, be empathetic, all right? And so build trust. What other things can you do? Build trust. One way to build trust is let your yes be yes and let your no be no. It happens over time. When you have an appointment for 8 a.m., don't turn up by 8:30. That's how to build trust. When you have agreed to do something for somebody, don't wait until 5 minutes to that event and say, oh, sorry, I have an emergency, except it's actually an emergency. Learn to build trust. A little here, a little there, and somebody will be able to say, I trust her, she will show up. Or somebody will say, I trust her. She cannot be here at that time. She's going to have excuses. So learn to build trust in your communication, in little things that you do. And again, somebody said trust is not easy to build. That's a perspective. I'm glad you say that. That's only a mindset, my brother. Now, reframe that statement and say, I want to start learning to trust. I want to start learning to trust. Nobody promised you it's easy, but it's something that you have to practice. You know, when you want to learn keyboard, for example, the first day you sit down, to start doing something, tell me how you sound. Did it go smoothly? What did you do? You came back a little here. Maybe you first of all learn how to place your fingers. It's a process, it's practice. If you stick at it to say, I want to learn to trust, and you start little by little. When you learn to start to trust, the first thing you are going to do to somebody you don't know before, it's not that you will ask them to come and it's not that you will give them 100,000 naira and you will say, I want to trust them that they will return it. No, that's not it. Somebody says, oh, I think I have lost my purse. I think I don't know how to get home. Can you get me 100 naira to get me home, please? As soon as I find my purse, I will refund. If you have to call that person back before they give you the money, they are not trustworthy. What do? You know, okay, maybe in our next episode we talk about how to relate and how to understand what the process of trust is. If you want me to do that, just shout me in the comment section. You can't influence a process you cannot trust. You know, the Bible says, can two work together except they agree? I know we are very quick to quote that scriptures in marriage, but it's just about any relationship. It's just about two people working together. Can two people work together except they agree? It's just about saying, me and you have an agreement to meet by 6 p.m. Except something happened that will not make you be there. Stick to it on your part. I also stick to it on my part. We know that life happens and emergencies can come up. Communicate it on time. The whole process is not just that when you don't go there by 6, that's not when you are not trustworthy. But you already know by 2 that you will not be there. Don't wait until 6. Communicate the process. You know, there is a lot of things to talk about in trust. There is communication. Before you can say somebody does not, you don't trust somebody, what did you communicate? How did you communicate? What did you say? What did they hear? How did they respond? Yes, I'm happy to go, because as a leader, you have to be able to trust people, because otherwise you are going to micromanage. If you cannot trust, that means you cannot delegate. No leader can do it alone. You know, there's a fascinating story of Jesus Christ in the Bible. I think it was in Matthew chapter 10. Sorry if you're not a Christian, please take it as a book. You see, Jesus went to their synagogue. He went to every villages. He went everywhere. And the Bible says he was moved with compassion because he saw that there are a lot of multitude and they look like sheep without shepherd. So he knew that as one person, he can't do it alone. So what did he do? He told the disciples, he said, pray so that the Father will send harvesters into the field. He said the harvest is the laborers. The harvest is indeed wild, but the laborers are few. He's talking about himself. This is a whole lot. As human, I cannot do it alone. What did he do? He trained 12 disciples. He had to trust them. Don't forget that in that clue of trusting, somebody betrayed him still. That will always happen, but he knew he was coming. Even as a leader, he knew that betrayal was coming. So there's something called trust. There is a betrayal in the part of trust, but you can't capitalize on one person. Look at, even before the one person eventually betray him or everything, in that passage that I'm describing, immediately he equipped the 12 and he sent them out. He gave them instruction. Go to the Hebrews. Don't go and go to the Jews. Don't go to the Gentiles. This is what you should do. This is what you should not do. He empowered them, healed the sick, set free and captive and everything. This is becoming interesting. So next time we come, we can talk about trust. How you can start trusting, because as a leader, you've got to be able to entrust. You have to empower people. You have to give them the opportunity to be trusted. And as we round up, because I don't want to take your time, I just want this video to be within 30 minutes so that when you want to watch replay, it becomes easier and not a burden for you. When you are trusted, do not betray the trust. It's only a matter of time. When you have interaction with people, you know if they can be trusted. Can you be trusted? Because there is no way you're going to be effective in your leadership journey if nobody can trust you. So I have a topic now, and we will run it through the month of March. The process of trust, how to be trust as an entrepreneur, as a career person, as a leader, even as the head of the family. Your family need to trust you, otherwise there won't be any respect. There won't be any regard. You're going out and you say, I'll come back. When I come back, I'll buy sweets for you. And you turn up, there is no sweet. My dear, you're already a liar. Your children, the next time you say, go and do this, I will give you this. Even if they are too afraid to tell you that daddy will not do it, they already know that you will not do it. You have lost that trust. So you need to learn to build trust. You need to learn to trust people, and you must be trusted. You have to build trust. This is why some people up to now cannot buy things online. Because, it's a whole lot of process. And for every originality you see, for every process you see, please appreciate that some things will work, something will not work. Every originality you see, there is, what do you call it? There is a fake. That's the right word. There is a fake, but the presence of fakeness or a fake thing does not displace the originality of what exists. I don't know if that resonates with you. So learn to trust, learn to be trusted. You have to learn to build a trust to be a leader. And one more before we go, you have to be proactive. Be proactive. People wait until things happen before they react. To be a leader, you have to be proactive. How do you become proactive? You don't think about the immediate gratification. You don't think about the immediate gain. You think ahead. You look into the future. 5 years from today, this decision that I'm taking, what will happen? What does it mean? 10 years from now, so you start taking action. In fact, if not because of my time, there is a story of how the US. Oh, thank you, Dr. Olumiyiwa. Thank you for joining me. There's a way US prepare for the pandemic. I think it was one of their previous presidents. He read a book. Somebody offered him a book and say, every 100 years there is a pandemic. He read that book and was like, wow, we are close to that time where a pandemic might happen. So you know what the US government did that time? They prepared. They made everything ready as if the pandemic was already with them. That pandemic did not happen during that president's tenure. The next tenure came, it didn't happen in their time. And those things became, expiry date and things like that, and they discarded them. But the structure and the system was already there. So when COVID came, do you know what they did? They did not have to start running scatter. Of course, they want the solution, which is why everybody went into lockdown. They want vaccines and everything. But there was already a system. There was already a structure. So it was easy for this government to just, to just make use of that system that is already in place. As I round up tonight, don't be an optimist. It's a process of trust. I know your trust has been betrayed. Can you be trusted? Did you say yes? Then give another chance to trust the process. If you're a pessimist, are you a pessimist? In case your trust has been betrayed, please come back. Let's do it together. Are you an optimist? Thank you for praying. Thank you for believing. Thank you for hoping. But nothing is going to change until you put the answers you've got in prayers to work. So come join me. Let's be a leader. Let's do something. Let's adjust the sail. Let's do something to this system. We might not be able to change the world, but we can influence one person. We might not be able to influence multitude. All Jesus did was to train 12 people. Don't forget there was a betrayer as well. And the 11 other people that stayed, they were trusted, is the reason why you and me can say we are Christian today. So I leave you with that quote again, with John Maxwell. He says, and I quote, "Pessimists see the wind, optimists wait for the change, but a leader adjusts the sail." My name is Funke Olaonipekun. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next week, 6 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. Nigeria time. Thank you. Keep the comments coming, your questions and everything, and I'll answer you. Thank you very much. Bye. I'll see you next week.